All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good morning. Don't know when you're going to be catching the Monday market report video that you're seeing before you. It's either going to be Sunday night or Monday morning. So whenever you decide to see it, hopefully you guys are having a fantastic end or start to your day. So this is the Monday market report for the week ending October 10th, 2021. I want to thank you guys for joining in on this video as we take a look at the top most relevant modern era coins that have sold in auction this past week. Now, as you guys know, I've been doing this for quite a while, and we normally target graded coins post 1900. That's always important. We want to know exactly where the market is for the modern era age of coins that normally a lot of folks would have easier access to. But in any event, we have a very robust market currently going. I mean, we are heading into the holidays, so this is kind of expected. But at the same time, we can't ignore the fact that the market has been good all year long, with very little blips in the overall, market and action that's taken place in the last 12 months. So that's quite exciting. All right, so, I want to thank you guys again. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to today's videos, or today's video, for that matter. I only did one video today. It's not like me. But in any event, let's go ahead and jump into the action straight from greatcollections.com. We have 20 total coins to take a look at here in this one. Quite exciting, and after looking at a few of these listings, you might want to consider looking back through your coins because the registry set market has been unbelievably overperforming. That's a good thing. I mean, there's a lot of untraditional type of dates that you'll see, including this 1951 Lincoln wheat cent, which, at first glance doesn't seem like all that special of a coin until you begin to really deep dive into what makes it special, namely the grade, the overall skimpy population of early 50s wheat cents, especially graded mint state 67 and 67 plus. This one, ladies and gentlemen, comes out at PCGS mint state 67 plus. My goodness. Between the 51, 52, 53, and 54, these are bar none the four toughest dates. You could probably even make the case that 1950 is quite tough as well. Philadelphia minted coins were just crap. They were absolute utter garbage when they were being produced at its time. They were a victim to just bad strikes. Just the planchette quality wasn't that great. You had a lot of nicks and scratches and things like that straight out of a BU mint bag, which was concerning during its day. It might have been, collectors were looking for premier coins back then as well, but it's more important today because the registry set is certainly what's bolstering the value of these coins. Keep in mind that it's also CAC certified, and we are going to go guns a-blazing in the MMR for the week. This one sold for $14,062.50. I mean, that is a heck of a payday, and if you guys have like little hidden groups or caches of some of these early 50s Lincolns and high grades, you might want to consider possibly sending a few to the graders and seeing what you're going to get, because these are really monumental paydays unlike I've ever seen. So yeah, pretty nice way to start it out. I mean, we're going to follow it up with a 44 Lincoln as well. This one is the just incredibly popular D over S over mint mark. This is in the Red Book. It's in the Cherry Picker's Guide. This is kind of like the coin that dreams are made of. And it doesn't really matter what grade you find an example at. I have 3 in my collection, and I would say none of them grade over like XF 40, 45, because I go through a lot of wheat cent bags. So that's where you're going to see some of these come up in much lower grades. But can you imagine finding, and possibly cherry picking one from a coin dealer, or maybe going through an old BU roll that has never been opened before, and then finding one of these and then come to find out that it is so undeniably clean that it will actually grade out a 67 red. I believe this is a top pop grade, and that would make this one insane. This is probably one of the most insane varieties of Lincoln cents that you will find, especially when it comes up to this grade. It's also CAC certified, and this one sold for $30,949.88. Just the first two coins alone, guys, is 45 grand. I mean, seriously, this is the kind of potential that's out there. There are certainly a lot of people, a lot of collectors, a lot of registry set people with endless supplies of money. You just gotta make sure you're able to find one, right? Seems simple enough. You just have to have some skin in the game, because if you don't do it, it's like playing the lottery. If you don't buy a ticket, you'll never win. So this is definitely an insane coin that I think has it rivals a Top Flight 55 double die offers. That's how pricey this coin is. The next one that we have here, we're going to come down to earth just a shade with a 1934D. This is probably kind of like that date range area, 1930 to 35, where things begin to get a little bit tougher to find in truly full mint state red. A 34D is quite common if you're looking for like a mint state 64 or 65 full red. You want to add it to your album, no problem. You can find those for around 20-30 bucks. But this one right here is a mint state 67 red. Guess what? This is going to go into another high profile Lincoln cent registry at some point. It's also CAC certified, and this one is also part of the Sunset collection that Great Collections has been consigned to, move over the course of, well, we're week number 160, so this thing's been going on for a while. This one sold for $3,099.38. And here's a 31 as well. Some would say that, it's not nearly as tough of a date as the 31S. As you guys know, that's quite the key date in the Lincoln Cent series. However, this coin right here is tough to find in mint state 67, no doubt about it. And we have one right here, full red. It's a, generally clean coin that'll end up in a registry set. Nothing really to speak of here. This is just a high-end example. It's also CAC certified. It's also another Sunset collection piece. And this one sold for $3,937.50. Beautiful coin. This is probably one of my favorites for being a non-key date. And then finally, to round out good old early coppers, we got a 1925. This one right here, I actually own one pretty similar to this. It's a full red. It's a mid-state 65 plus. It's a nice coin, paid, somewhere in that $150 range for it, back, 8 years ago. But 67 is a tough grade, but it's not entirely impossible to find in this particular date. I've seen plenty of raw 24s, 25s, 26s out in the open market. So they are certainly out there. This one, again, going into a registry set, and this one sold for $1,606.50. So it's kind of bringing up the rear of the Lincolns in terms of its value. All right, we're on to nickels. Nickels have been quite insane this week. Very, very overperforming, very notable list of sales, starting out with a 1988P. Apparently, registry set Jefferson Nickel people are looking for 1980s Jefferson Nichols in full steps. And they have to grade out kind of at this level. This one is a mid-state 67 plus with full steps. It's a generally clean example, but, much like a lot of other 80s Jefferson Nichols, you do have luster loss. You do have issues with planchet nicks and, things of that nature. So the quality left a little bit to be desired, but when you do come across a cherry, it is certainly worth putting aside. If not for grading, but at the very least adding to your collection. It would take quite a bit to be able to achieve a 67 plus. no doubt about it. And because of that, this one had sold for $2,292.75. Where else can you achieve over $2,000 for a modern 1980s coin? Well, it's the U.S. coin, silly, and that's where you're going to have to look at, especially these coins with strike designations. So Jefferson Nichols, I would say Roosevelt dimes, but we haven't seen, a lot of like premier Roosevelt dimes lately. Plus, it's a series that's not as widely collected as Nichols. All right, so there was a 2-coin set in one listing sold through GC this week. We have a 71D and a 74. So we have a pair of early 70s Jefferson Nichols, and they're both graded the same, save for the fact that the 74 is a gold shield compared to the one which is not. So the 71D is a 66 full stepper, and the 74 is also a full stepper as well. This pair sold for $1,150.88. So that's where we're at on this one. If you wanted to, say, supercharge a registry set and you need both of these dates, voila, there is a 2-coin set that had sold here this week. Pretty nice. All right, back to single coins. How about 45S this time? This is a wartime silver nickel era example. It's quite pretty. What I love most about this particular 5-year set is that a lot of the coins are extremely lustrous. You can find some pretty spectacularly toned examples, although this example is blast white. Check out the stats, however. It's a PCGS mid-state 67 plus. It does have full steps, and most of them do. When you come across any wartime silver era of coin of this caliber, even if it's raw, more than likely you're going to see some pretty nice steps. At that point, it'll just be a matter of how clean is the coin. Is it, nick-free? Are there a few nicks? Things like that. Again, another registry set piece, so I wouldn't necessarily invest in something like this. But, of note, it did sell for $3,825. So if you have some pretty super high-end examples of these earlier manganese silver alloy coins, and you were interested in grading them, just make sure that the steps are quite clean on the reverse, and you'll be in good shape. And here's also another good one. This time we have one of the well-known varieties of the Silver Wartime series. This is the 43/2 overdate variety. They're all Philadelphia mints. However, this one is a PCGS Mint State 66 plus. It is not a full stepper. All right, you can see a few of those little nicks right there that have obstructed into the overall quality of these steps on that reverse. But all in all, just a beautiful example of the 43/2, and you could just barely see a little bit of that little what I like to call fang, which is the top curl of the two as it goes up from the base of the 3. This one right here, ladies and gentlemen, sold for $2,306.25. Here's a 41D. So all of a sudden we're in the 1940s Jefferson Nichols gang this week, where sometimes you may see only one or two, or not even any. But we have a 41D. This one is very pretty. I own a number of 41Ds myself, and they are all quite nice. They're all in albums. I feel a little funny about grading those because, it has to come out at 68. 6 full steps. This one is NGC graded. This is about as high as you could get through NGC's census. And this one right here sold for $3,206.25. Also note that it has some very nice original kind of toning on there. Very light, very pastel-y, but I think it really gives it a good look for sure. Okay, your eyes are not playing tricks on you. Yeah, the coin looks rotated, but that's only because the coin was rotated in the slab. So I retained the overall look of the coin rotated for you. It's oriented perfectly. It's not a rotated dies error or anything like that, so don't worry about that. This is a 39. one of the more common earlier dates of Jefferson's. However, this is the reverse of 1940. So the reverse of 1940 is a design type, a modified one, where the steps were not wavy; they were quite straight, and plus you also had these caps on the end of the steps. Very nice, very pretty coin. A little bit of toning on there, but check out the grade. It's a mid-state 68 full stepper. I mean, talk about a beast of a coin right here. I think most of the time we've seen like 67s, 67 pluses, but this is not bad right here. This one sold for $5,118.75. We do have a couple Buffalo nickels. Some of them more kind of like easier to obtain. If you were going to look for these, you could certainly find them raw. This is a 36S, and the last raw example of a mid-state 36S that I've bought set me back about $150. So, you know, it's not a cheap coin, but if you do find one that has a lot of eye appeal, I know on some of these early Buffaloes, toning can be everything to a Buffalo nickel collector because it does add kind of like that extra plus appeal to a coin. This one right here, check out the grade NGC Mid-State 66. It's not the top end grade, which is kind of interesting. But I think this is where a lot of the eye appeal comes into the equation on this one. It's also CAC certified. And this is also part of the Lava Skylight collection. This is another consignment that Great Collections is working on. I think they're about 3-4 weeks into it right now. This one sold for $1,413. And again, it's more of the toning than actual grade, because grade alone, it's probably a $200 coin. And Holy Batman toning, we have a 34D. I think a lot of you are probably gonna look at not only the toning, but you know, it's like, hey, is that date doubled? No, it's a little bit of machine doubling on there. I did notice that, and I went and blew it up on my computer screen just to make sure. I don't think there's any attributed doubled die. You can even see some of that doubling or machine doubling here on the forehead, and then on the eyelid as well, and then probably right here in the mouth and nose area. So yeah, you kind of know that that's machine doubling. You even see it on the feather. But you know, I mean, super eye appeal right here. This one is a mid-state 65. Again, it's not a top end 66, 67, or a 67 plus, or a 68, which all those grades, by the way, exist for this date. It's just a 65. But where you get a lot more punch in this one is going to be the original color of the coin. It's also CAC certified. This is another Lava Skylight collection piece, and this one sold for $4,375.12. All right, we got some dimes on tap, and surprisingly, we have a few Roosevelts. I know they're kind of few and far between on the MMRs, but when they come up, we talk about them. How about a 1958 Proof Roosevelt? This is relevant for a few reasons. This comes from a set that you could still buy today for under $30. So this is certainly cherry-picking fodder at its best. Registry set collectors want these as well. They want deep cameo, lots of great contrast between the devices and the fields, as you can see here. The fields, by the way, are like blacked out mirrors. It's incredible. The grade, pretty close to perfect. I don't think there is a perfect 70 of this date, but how about a 69 deep cameo? You can't really go wrong there. If you did find one of these in the proof set, you better jump on it right away, because these come up in less than 1% of the total population, or mintage rather, of these coins. So they're quite scarce, but if you just happen to come across one at a show, or maybe you looked at a local collection that you're buying online or through Facebook Marketplace, and you see this, it's probably a worthwhile pickup, and you could probably look at any one of the other coins in the set and really make a judgment call for the cameo contrast, because that's important. This one right here is sold for $3,604.50, which is a surprising amount of money, to a lot for a Roosevelt dime. And here's a 48S. This is a regular circulation strike coin, and this is probably the first time that I've seen a proof-like designation through NGC on one of these coins. Now, keep in mind, this is a Mint State 68 full torch. It's quite the superior piece for a registry set, but it does say PL on the label. So NGC, PCGS, they're beginning to implement kind of like the proof-like or deep mirror proof-like designation on other non-traditional coins. So anything outside of like Morgan dollars and all that stuff, they're also testing the waters on any high-quality coin that might exhibit some proof-like surfaces. This one, really nice, and it sold for $1,406.25. A Mercury Dime, just a really nice, pleasing Mercury Dime. It's not a scarce date at all. It's a 42. It's one of the more common dates that you could find out there. And I'm willing to bet that is one that I'm sure a lot of you have come across at one point or another at maybe a coin shop or a show. You know, these are still out there raw. And, you know, if you don't mind spending $30, $40, or $50 for one, you know, you could cherry a really nice high-end example, send it to the graders, and it might come back a 68 like this one did. Now, it does have full split bands as well, so that's the strike designation on the reverse of the coin. And this one sold for $3,150. If you did the math, you spent, say, at the top end, $50 for the coin. You sent it off to PCGS, you know, you paid like another $40 or $50 to send out with shipping. It comes back. You net out $3,150, you know, after fees and all that, you know, you'll profit $3,000 easily. So this is another opportunity. This is another way that you could kind of make some extra money if you wanted to. You just have to get to these shows and shops, you know. So if you're an avid roll hunter or you like other aspects of the numismatics hobby, this is another thing that you could add to your repertoire. Of course, you know, this is a coin that needs no introduction. This is the 42/1. I mean, you see the number 1 in the date, right, guys? I mean, I'm not imagining anything. 42/1, I own a couple of these myself. They're not quite this nice, though. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. High-end pieces, you know, that go into the Mint State category of grades tend to get up there in price. This one's a Mint State 62 full split bands. I mean, if you need one that's Mint State, this is a good one right here. CAC certified, and this one managed to hammer at $6,946.88. All right, so is this where I tell you guys to dust off your 1976S, what do you call these? Silver uncirculated sets. Now these come in a 3-piece set that includes the Bicentennial quarter, the Bicentennial half dollar, and the Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar. Okay, and they're all 40% silver. So this is more than likely not a coin that you're going to find in circulation, but you know, it's a set that's valued around like $10. So, you know, if you did come across one and it's undeniably clean, keep in mind these Bicentennials, it doesn't matter if it's the regular clad circulation strike, if it's the silver unk, or the proofs. Man, these things are hot. These are kind of like before the statehood quarters and all that jazz. This was the modern kind of statehood commemorative circulation quarter right here that everybody loves. I mean, who doesn't love the drummer boy? This is a PCGS Mint State 69. Holy smokes. And it does say silver right on the slab label, so we're not, you know, juking anybody. This thing sold for $7,368.75. I mean, if I knew that this coin or any of the other Bicentennials at the highest level were selling for $7,000, I would probably pay more attention. Now I gotta kind of dig out of my collection these things. I don't have that many. I got a few, but, you know, they're pretty well struck, too. So the odds of finding anything like a 67 and higher is pretty good. A couple quarters left for this week's Monday market report. How about a 61D with some pretty nebulous toning on the front? It looks like a combination of out-of-this-world kind of spacey type of toning. But at the same time, if you look at it hard enough, it looks like a mossy piece of wood in a forest. So, I mean, it certainly has its personality, and people love toned coins. And, you know, based off of this particular listing, oh boy, this thing sold for a boatload of money for what you're getting. 61D is not your prototypical date of like rarity, but keep in mind, it's all silver. Anything pre-65 silver with this level of toning, and you're going to have an audience. Check out the grade, 66. That's it. It doesn't have a star, so the star denotes eye appeal, and that's what the toning is. It's also CAC certified, and this is also a piece from the Lava Skylight collection that realized $3,516.75. If you see one of these in your album and it's got some beautiful kind of like ringy targeted bullseye toning, I mean, you might want to consider grading it because it's fantastic. And then finally, we have a date of coin that I haven't talked about on the MMR. I don't think I've talked about this one. I've talked about the key date $half, I believe. But I don't think I've talked about the quarter. This is the 1901S. This is the big dog in the room if you're collecting barber quarters, or let alone if you have like a old collection of this that has been passed down to you or something. Look out for the 01S. It's low mintage. It's very key to the series. This one, however, is a PCGS AU50, which says a lot. This thing is a beast and a half. You know, it doesn't look like much. It looks like just a circulated old coin. But that's the beauty part of it, because you just never know what you're going to come across. Now, someone desperately, or actually a number of people desperately needed this in their collection, and it shows on the sale. It sold for $27,843.75. Woo! Wow. I would love to find one of those in an old collection for sure, but, you know, that's it. That's going to go ahead and do it for this one, folks. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Don't forget to like, share, or subscribe if you enjoy my content or this video today. Hit the dislike button if you don't, of course. And, you know, there's our email. If you have coin questions, we do a live stream on our channel, Live Coin Q&A. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you're subscribed, so that way you could get in on some of the cool stuff that we talk about every Monday night, in addition to all the other cool videos we pull up as well. But yeah, go ahead and, you know, come join us. We are going to be on tonight if you're watching this on Monday, or if you're watching this on Sunday, check us out tomorrow evening. We'll be on 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern, and then everybody else in between. So if you're Mountain Time or Central, you guys know where you're at. But that's going to go ahead and do it. I want to thank you guys for all your views and support. Love you guys. Hopefully this video brings you a little bit of numismatic inspiration as we go into this new week. I wish you guys the best of luck. Have a great Monday. Don't work so hard, and I will see you on the next coin video. So long.